Welcome to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25 Media. We feature top founders, executives, and business leaders from all over the world.
Hi, Chad Franzen here, co-host of the Top Business Leaders Show, where we feature CEOs, entrepreneurs, and top leaders in the business world. Past guests of this show include Brittany DeLeon and Kostya Bednarz, the founders of Fair, Healthy, Fast Casual Restaurants, David Grossman, president and CEO at Epic Burger, Kirk Moriello, CEO and founder of Profit Cookers, George Macaro, co-founder and CEO of Ted's Montana Grill and founder of Longhorn Steakhouse, and Wing Lamb, co-founder of Wahoo's Fish Taco. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. We help B2B businesses reach their dream relationships and connect with more clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships, and get ROI through Done For You podcasts. If you have a B2B business and want to build great relationships, there's no better way to profile the people and companies you admire on your podcast. To learn more, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. My guest today is Gregg Horan, owner and founder and managing partner of The Greggory in South Barrington, Illinois. He spent nearly 3 decades at Gibsons Restaurant Group, rising from assistant manager to managing partner and director of operations, overseeing openings like Gibsons Steakhouse, Hugo's Frog Bar, Gibsons Italia, RL Restaurant Chicago, the Polo Bar in New York, and more. After departing Gibsons at the end of 2022, he teamed with Bill Veremis and Chef Jose Sosa to launch Hirth Hospitality and open the Greggory in March of 2025. Gregg, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
Well, thanks for having me. And it was great to hear you mention Kostya and Brittany, who were I had the pleasure of working with the Gibsons for many years. They're both great people to work with at Gibsons, and so proud of everything they've done with that fair concept. They're amazing.
Nice. Well, that's great to hear. I'll let them know that you said hi. Hey, tell me, when a customer who has never been to the Greggory comes in there, what are they likely to sense upon walking into the door?
Well, hopefully the first thing they sense is that we are bound and determined to bring hospitality back to the restaurant world. I think it's something that kind of disappeared over the COVID period, and I think we're really trying hard to bring it back and trying to engage the customer from the moment they walk in the door till the moment they leave, and really make them know that they're appreciated and wanted as a customer and valued. So that's really the biggest thing we're trying to do right now.
As I mentioned, you had a long tenure at Gibsons Restaurant Group, involved in multiple openings. How did that experience shape your vision for what you're doing now?
Well, I guess I tried. Every restaurant I open, I learned something, right? When I opened the Gibsons in Rosemont in the year 2000, I think I was 30 years old, and it was a disaster. The first couple of weeks were a disaster. We didn't know what we were doing. It was really the first big expansion for the group. So, every time we open a restaurant, I opened 8 of them with Gibsons. You learn something, you pick something up. And some of the other stuff I learned, I had the opportunity to go to New York and open the Polo Bar with the Ralph Lauren company. So you learn a lot about branding from those kind of people. And then you take bits and pieces and kind of put it together and into our own spot here. So there's a little bit of, Gibson's original Gibsons Steakhouse. There's a little bit of Gibsons Italia. There's a little bit of RL and Polo Bar. All these components that I loved brought into the new restaurant.
I know you partnered with Bill Veremis. I hope I'm pronouncing his name.
Bill Veremis, yes.
Bill Veremis and
yes.
Chef Jose Sosa.
Correct.
To launch this venture. How did that partnership come about?
Well, Bill's family and his family had a restaurant called the Rosewood in Rosemont for, it was there for about 30 years. And Bill was there when I opened the Gibsons in Rosemont. So we became friends. When he heard that I was leaving the Gibsons group, he reached out to me and said, I've got this great spot, here in South Barrington. Bill lives nearby in Inverness. So he was sitting on this spot for a long period of time. Brought me out there. Turns out the landlord was a great customer of ours at Gibsons Italia. Chef Jose came on about 6 months into the project. He had been doing something with another group, didn't work out. So we were lucky enough to grab him and partner with him on this. And Chef Jose was our opening. He was with Gibsons for about 14 years, I think, and he was the opening chef at Gibsons Italia, which is now one of the highest grossing restaurants in the country.
So
So,
you have this restaurant. Your location, as you alluded to, is in South Barrington. Tell me a little bit about that location. What made Bill and now you think it's so great?
well, it's in an upscale outdoor mall there called the Arboretum, and there's a few other successful restaurants really doing great numbers out there. They have a Cooper's Hawk that's very busy. They have a Hampton Social, a Ruth Chris, a couple smaller restaurants as well. It's kind of a destination point for the northwest suburbs. It's right off of 90, easily accessible, lots of parking. So we found that we've been able to draw anywhere from, from 25, 30 minutes around, draw a circle around South Barrington, and it's easy to get to from 90. And they really didn't have anything kind of a local flair. They had small local restaurants, but nothing like what we're doing. The rest of it's all chains. So we felt like there was a real opportunity to do something special, bring a little big city vibe to the suburbs, and so far it's been working.
I'll get back to the Greggory in just a sec. How did you get started in the restaurant business?
I had always, I don't know, my first restaurant job, I guess, was Gibson, or I'm sorry, was McDonald's drive-through when I was 16, in high school.
Hmm.
It wasn't quite as uncool then as it is now. I had a bunch of my friends who were athletes. We all kind of worked there and
Hmm.
had a good time and learned a lot. College, I ended up, being a busboy, waiting tables, bartending a little bit, all that kind of stuff. Out of school, I graduated from University of Illinois, and I was in a sales position for a couple of years that I didn't love, so I kind of went back to bartending. Got a job at the Cubby Bear right across from Wrigley Field, and they figured out that I could count money and I was not a thief, and so they tossed me the keys about 6 months in, and I kind of stayed in their business ever since then. They kind of taught me how to run a place. I was a manager there. I ran Sports Corner on the other corner, owned by the same family, the Lucas family, and I had 5 great years. With some, incredible experiences and great people and a lot of fun. Learned a lot as well.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the experience of working, as a kind of a bartender. You're kind of the face that a lot of people see there, right across
Yeah.
the street from the Wrigley Field, a popular place in Chicago. What was that like?
Yeah, it was super busy. So we would have baseball games during the day. Then we would clear the place out at night, and we would have bands. It was a great music venue. They still do music to some extent, but back then it was kind of a cutting edge venue, and there's lots of great bands there. And I think I told you this before. Johnny Cash performed there when I was there, and
Wow.
did 2 shows, and we sold 1,000 tickets to each show, and just an incredible experience to meet him and see him on stage. Chuck Berry was there, the Smashing Pumpkins were there, and Urge Overkill, and it was just a kind of you know, it was a lot less nice in that neighborhood at that point. This was definitely a little more Wild West feel. So it was fun. And learned a lot about running a business as well, because George Lucas, the owner, gave us a lot of freedom as managers to run the place and make up some money.
Did anything from that experience contribute to your vision for the Greggory?
Um, Not really. No, you know what? I thought about staying in that neighborhood and doing a restaurant there, but I was again, I was in my mid 20s, and I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to work with Gibsons shortly after that as an assistant manager. So I went from a place where I was making probably 75, 80 grand a year bartending and managing to my first job with Gibson's assistant manager making $500 a week. So,
Oh,
and
wow.
that was 1996. So this was a big step.
Hmm.
But the real learning, I learned a lot about making customers happy and at Cubby Bear, and high volume situations and pressure. Carried that over my Gibson's years as well. But most of the inspiration for the restaurant came from the restaurant portion of my career.
Hmm. What about the design vision for the Greggory? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got to give full credit to my partner Bill and his wife and sisters. So that's Stacy and Katina.
Hmm.
We initially had an architect in there, and we weren't able to translate our vision adequately to them. So it was kind of a hard thing, and they were not drawing what we wanted to see. And so we eventually, went to another architect and ended up with D+K Architect. And even then, we struggled a little bit, just trying to get our vision across. Bill and I had an idea, and then Katina and Stacy came in and really, codified it and said, this is what your light fixtures are. This is what your bookcase looks like. This is what everything looks like. And here's your furniture, and really brought everything together into an amazing, beautiful restaurant. So I give them full credit for that.
How did the menu come about? I know you work with Chef Sosa.
Yes. So again, we took some components of some of the restaurants we loved and had worked at before, and tweaked some stuff, but it's a classic American menu. And Chef took some stuff that he loves. He's making all the pastas fresh in house, so he's doing an amazing simple cacio e pepe with bucatini that's just tremendous. Prime rib done on the rotisserie has been a standout. And Chef has got a real healthy curiosity about the world and its different meats and flavors. So we've been dabbling a little bit in Wagyu from Australia, and some Japanese stuff as well. So it's been interesting. But Chef has a lot of freedom to do what he wants to do, and we have some staples that are tried and true, but he has a lot of freedom to experiment as well.
And I know you do some live fire cooking there at the restaurant. How does that add to kind of the ambiance, the vibe?
So it really is the centerpiece of the restaurant. When you walk into the dining room, you see it right there. There's a oven, a grill, and a rotisserie, all wood fired. So it's really a stunning visual when you walk in. It's beautiful. It's in the center of the dining room. And it imparts some amazing flavors. That wood gives you a different flavor for the steaks and the fish that's prepared on, and the vegetables as well. So he's using that to our advantage, and kind of building around that.
And you have a house-made pasta.
Yes, yeah, everything's made fresh daily, and we do 3 different pastas a day. We've got a ravioli special right now with summer corn, but we also do tortellini. We also do bucatini and rigatoni. So fantastic, off the charts pasta.
What about the wine room and the bar space design? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, the bar. So I love bars. Where my past is in bars, so I had a big hand in the bar design, and I wanted it to be a lot like a Gibsons bar. So I've always loved the serpentine. I don't know if you've ever been to a Gibsons. Their bar is kind of an S, and it's serpentine. And my mentor and former partner, Mr. Lombardo, would say, he wanted that S, so people are not like just sitting vertically next to each other. There's actually like a little back and forth, so people can see down the bar. They can see each other, and it makes for great interaction. And we found the same thing. So we kind of knocked off a Gibson's bar, but we put a marble top on it instead of a wood top, and a beautiful back bar, and just gorgeous furniture that's kind of more in an RL style. And the wine room is a 3,000 bottle wine room, tempered, just another showpiece where people can see the wine, and it's actually stored properly, which is great.
Would you say the Greggory identifies itself as like high-end dining? It puts out that vibe, or what kind of vibe do you?
Yeah, we certainly put out the vibe that we're high-end dining. It's a very special looking place, but that being said, the menu is very accessible for everyday use as well. If you want to come in and have a sandwich, or some corned beef bites, or some pigs in a blanket, and come in the bar and have a glass of wine, you can do that. Or if you want to come for a special occasion, it's a great spot for birthdays or really special occasions. You want to spend a ton of money, you got that opportunity to do that there as well. But we want people to be able to use it and have a burger. This is nothing. I didn't invent this. This is a Gibson's philosophy, right? We want you to be comfortable in a luxurious spot, and get great service and great food.
I read somewhere that you wanted to be kind of like a neighborhood cornerstone that people can return to regularly.
Yeah, I feel like that's that's kind of following the theme of what happened when we opened in Gibsons Rosemont, Hugo's Naperville, Gibsons Oak Brook. We became the neighborhood gathering place. Like the center of the entire city of Oak Brook is still probably Gibson's Oak Brook, and that's where people gather in the bar. You go there for special occasions, but you can go there every day as well. And that's kind of the same thing we're trying to accomplish here in South Barrington.
Was there, you'd opened numerous restaurants with Gibsons, and then you opened this one kind of without Gibsons. Did you notice like that part missing with this experience?
Oh
Like
yeah,
less overhead.
because we're a relatively new company. We didn't have, we don't have the infrastructure that I had to fall back on at Gibson's. The wonderful, corporate office with the accounting team and all the support, and most importantly, deeper pockets, right? We're over budget, and we're in danger of not finishing the project. We have to find the solution. We just don't have money laying around that we can just grab and do that. So that's an eye-opening experience when you're doing it on your own for the first time.
Was there some degree of risk then that went into it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 1,000%. We ended up, using our own funds, to bridge certain portions of the build out. We ended up, actually, selling some of our equity as well at the end, because we ended up we built a beautiful place. I mean, it's real wood, real wood floors, nothing laminate, real marble, all that kind of stuff. And it feels great and it looks great. So it ended up being over budget, and we have to, in order to finish the project, we definitely had a degree of personal risk.
I know when you're in the restaurant business, especially when you own a restaurant, it's kind of a passion project. I've talked to a number of people, like if you want to maybe get rich, you do something else. What is it about being in the restaurant industry that you like so much?
I guess I kind of fell into it, and it was something that I turned out to be very good at, right? And I guess it kind of feels a lot of times like I'm a football coach or a baseball coach. That's a big part of the job, is to build these teams, get everybody pulling in the same direction, instill a culture, and make sure everybody wants to. Sorry about that. Someone's at the door. Make sure everybody is dedicated to serving the customer the way that you want to serve the customer. So there's that, and then there's a gratifying family aspect to it as well when you build a business. And I did it 8 times with Gibsons. You build small families that they end up growing up together. There's people who end up being there for 20, 25 years. Their kids grow up. They go to school. You help pay mortgages, you help put kids through school, and you see all that, and it's a gratifying experience, on a personal level as well. And then if you do it right, it ends up being financially viable as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have one more question for you, but first, tell me how people can find out more about the Greggory.
Well, you can go to our website at thegreggory.com, or you can find us on Instagram at _Greggory _. There's lots of great visuals, and our social media team has done an amazing job with that as well.
Okay, awesome. Hey, last question for you is, let's say you were to just stumble upon the Greggory as a customer and you walked in, what would be your item of choice?
Well, I mean, if you're just coming in just for a bite, you got to try the corned beef bites. Those were borrowed from the Polo Bar in New York. That was one of Ralph Lauren's favorite things, is corned beef, and we're getting the corned beef from the same supplier in New York, out of Manelli's, that they use at the Polo Bar. If you're going in for a steak, I'd suggest you try the prime rib. The prime rib has been off the charts, and if you really want to spend some money, the best steak I've ever had is the Stone Axe Wagyu New York that we serve as well.
Okay, sounds fantastic. Hey, Gregg, it's been great to talk to you today. Thanks so much for all of your time and your insights. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25. Visit rise25.com to check out more episodes of the show and to learn more about how you can start your own podcast.